All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm here for another edition of International Soccer Break. I'm your host, Sahil, here with Bick and Rahi. We're going to break down some big things that happened in Indian football today. But first, of course, we all got to talk about what happened last night in the cricket. We kind of do have to talk about it, unfortunately, guys.
Unfortunately, we do have to talk about it. It was like a nightmare I had in 2003. I remember you were there with me as well. Woke up with the idea that it was going to be a coronation, and I realized it was a coronation of the Australians again, not the Indians, but it's what they do. The eternal nemesis. I don't know what to say except I shouldn't have expected anything else.
Yeah, I mean, they are the Real Madrid of cricket. When they get to the final, they know exactly what to do. But, it is what it is. Life goes on. I think let's just leave it at that.
Well, let's talk about another team representing India that actually had a much better week and actually a phenomenal week, if I would say that. This was big stuff, guys. For those who didn't know, you need to know now. India winning their first World Cup qualifier for the 2026 World Cup over Kuwait in Kuwait City away. That's some big stuff there, right, guys?
Some huge stuff. I'm so excited to talk about this because this is, I think, the biggest victory in Indian soccer in 20 years. The biggest performance to start qualifying against the opponent you know is going to be the one you're competing with to get second place. This is the one that you have to beat, and to do it on the road and to do it with a performance that was extremely solid in the back, picking their moments on the counter when they needed to. And that goal, Bick, that's world class. What a finish. Yeah. Manvir Singh. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more from this Indian team.
Yeah, I mean, like the interplay for that goal was amazing. I think everyone was talking about Chhangte and the impression that he made ever since he came on. But it was an amazing through ball by Akash Singh as well. Akash Mishra as well. So he played the ball to Chhangte. Chhangte crossed it in, and it was a great finish. But yeah, I mean, I think the coach got his substitutes right. India defensively looked really solid. They absorbed the pressure really well. So yeah, I mean, incredible performance, and bring on Qatar, and let's see what happens next.
I know I called him Singh because Singh is king. We can say after that game for sure.
Mr. Manvir Singh coming up big time with a huge goal. I want to talk about briefly a little bit more about this game, and I thought Sandesh Jingan in the defense was excellent. I thought as a whole the defense was pretty solid. Yeah. Like you mentioned, Chhangte and some of the subs. Let's talk about Igor Stimac. What would you rate his performance in this game?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I really want to talk about him. I thought he was fantastic. Managed this game to perfection. And you heard him in the post-game comments that he was instructed his team to wait for their moments, be patient, frustrate Kuwait. You know you're the road team. And they did that, right? They limited chances in the first half. And then as the game wore on, that's when he makes the big sub to bring on Chhangte. And that's when the game changes, that moment on the counter. And I thought they controlled it to perfection. A very Croatia-like performance, picking your moments. I thought the management in this game was excellent. Really very, very good. The only concern for me is a couple set pieces where I thought there were moments where the Indian defense shut off. Kuwait had a couple chances that could have turned things the other way. That's something that needs to get cleaned up. But Stimac was excellent.
Yeah, go ahead, Vic. Yeah.
No, I mean, I fully agree with Rahi, and yeah, actually, I also agree on the point about the set pieces. I think there was one where the attacker was just left alone. So I think that's something they have to bear in mind. But again, the rest of it was pretty good.
Yeah, and those are the moments in the past that have really killed India. Is those moments, those little moments where you shut off. And that's when you give up a goal after a performance that's excellent for 65 minutes. And that's why against Qatar, those moments are going to be punished. So you have to be perfect in those times because you can't ruin what was a great performance with moments or momentary lapses, I think.
Yeah. What do we think about nearly 40-year-old Sunil Chhetri? This guy can still play,
Yeah, he was good. He was good. I mean, I think he did his job. Obviously, he had that chance in the first half, which he missed. But again, I mean, that happens to any strikers. But I think, he did what you would expect of him. He doesn't look anywhere near 40. And he's, I think he's performing as well as he ever done. So, yeah, I think he did his job well.
And the thing is, he's not relied upon to be the star. I don't think he's the big name. Yeah. But watch this team, and the team doesn't run through him, which is important. As a 40-year-old, that's not the way it should be. I know he's the one we know. He's the face, but he's no longer the heart of the team, and that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%. And to win away against Kuwait, like you said, against the team that they're going to be competing for to make it to the next round, those are a huge 3 points. I think they would have been happy with the draw, but to take the full 3, that's very impressive. Okay, so let's move forward a little bit now to the game against Qatar. Now you're going to play against a team that just did some damage against Afghanistan.
Yeah, I mean I think they got 6 goals in the first half. They had 3 penalties in the match. They just dominated Afghanistan through and through. That being said, I thought the Afghanistan defending was shambolic. Genuinely, they didn't know what they were doing. They were all over the place. I think I've probably seen better defending at school level. There was no organization, no line. So I think, yes, India go into it thinking, okay, Qatar have just beaten them 8-1. India only beat Afghanistan 2-1 last time they played them. So, is it going to be really tough against Qatar? I think, yeah, look, I mean, they are a better team than India. They've played in the World Cup. They're the reigning Asia Cup champions. So, yeah, they are a good team. But I think essentially India will just have to do more of the same next time round. And by that, I mean defensive organization and try and catch them on the counter. Qatar's number 11 is really good, Akram Afif. I thought he had an incredible game, and all of Qatar's most of Qatar's runs came in from the left side. So he's quite distinctive, and you'll see him on the screen. And yeah, I think India will basically have to shore up the right, and a lot of their attacks came from the wings as well. So get the defense organized properly, and then hit them on the counter. And I think India are set up well to do that.
Yeah. The one thing I was thinking about as I was watching the Kuwait game is, India plays a lot on the flanks, right? They play very wide, right? So I was thinking against Qatar, one of the things I want to see is I want to see them more compact a little bit. I don't know how you guys feel, but I felt there was too much space in the midfield. Luckily, I think the Kuwaitis weren't able to take advantage of that. In the back, India was very solid, but I think they're going to have to constrict some of that against Qatar.
Yeah, I agree, especially early on. And maybe play it up to Manvir Singh, allow him to do the damage alone if need be. But I'd love for them to be a little tighter early on, especially. And then the same thing that they did against Kuwait, pick your battles. But ideally, you want to keep this game really close, right? Because Kuwait is the team you're competing with for second, but things like goal difference are going to matter. So it really is pivotal that you keep it very tight. And then, pick your moments to try to get the result. But this could come down at the end to goal difference. So you have to think about that as well.
100%, yeah. And look, I mean, the thing is, every time India's played Qatar, they haven't embarrassed themselves. They drew with them in 2019. They lost them 1-0 in 2021. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be going for the draw. And look, if it's 0-0 after 80 minutes, you never know, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure all the Indian players have watched the Cricket World Cup final too. So I'm hoping they'll all be pumped up and being like, okay, these guys couldn't get it done for our nation. We're having this game at home. Let's get it done. Let's get it done.
I'd like to see them start off like Labasham, steady, and wait for your moments. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so, by the way, the game sold out, and apparently it's not been confirmed, but Arsene Wenger will be there as well. So we've got some big names in the crowd.
Okay,
I think the original crowd will get behind India, and they'll make a lot of noise, as they did in Kuwait, by the way, because from all reports, it sounded like there were more Indian fans than Kuwaiti fans.
I could hear that for sure, 100%. India's going to come out in full force versus Qatar, I'm sure, and especially given the events of earlier this week. Okay, I want to finish with just saying, okay, where are we at this current juncture? Obviously, the World Cup qualification has just started, but is there anything big picture you guys want to address? Obviously, some of our viewers had some comments, and this is just the start of the campaign. So we'll continue to bring you all the further games, and we'll recap the games. For those of you who are tuning in, it's going to be a 7 p.m. IST start for those in India. For those in the US, about 5:30 in the morning, and for those in the UK, it's kind of a mid-afternoon game, so early afternoon. So
So I'll have to book in some work meetings, and
Exactly.
um,
No, I just
try and
this is
figure it
the
out.
start has got me super encouraged. If you hadn't seen the team up till now, you should be very encouraged by the way they performed. So just if you haven't tuned in yet, tune in now because they're really better than you think. That's what I'm gonna tell you now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, actually, thanks, Sahil. I did want to address a couple of the comments that were made in the last video. I think a lot of people said that, we're talking about the overseas dual national players and, how India's focus should be on building the game in India. And look, I completely agree with that. I think that should be the focus of the federation going forward. But I think, as a nation, you do whatever you can to help yourself go forward. And it's not there's nothing morally wrong about relying on players of Indian heritage. I mean, every country in the world would do that. England would do that. France would do that. Brazil would do that. So I think you give yourself the best chance of making it through. But yes, the focus should 100% be on developing the game at home.
Yeah.
The one thing I would add to that is success on the international stage then translates back into young kids playing the sport. So I mean, think about what the World Cup, Kapil Dev did for cricket in India. The same thing could happen, even if it's a dual national, right? That same person
100%.
could do the same thing for Indian kids playing the sport, and then you develop young players, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No, I think, look, and like I said, I think, the base, you can see some of the locally developed players, it's getting stronger domestically. Obviously, these players that are all ISL players getting stronger. Now imagine adding some, very strong players coming from abroad and NRIs and things like that.
Yeah.
This, especially in the Asian region, this could become, with a strong coach like Igor Stimac, we could become a team to definitely contend with, so that's what's on the radar. Okay, look, so for all the India fans out there, I know the cricket team did whatever they had to do, but believe in blue. The Indian football team is coming up. Now it's their turn to make the nation proud. I just want to finish with that. And as I finished with last time, let's go out. Let's get a good result against Qatar and chuck the India.